Something I've been thinking about a lot lately is really Gen Z and the generation after Gen Z. And, we've been very much conditioned for, getting things instantly, right? Amazon's
Sure.
kind of done that to us. So it's like
Absolutely.
I can click a button and have, a product, the exact product I want at my door, probably the same day in most cases, later that evening or whatever. And so I wonder with Gen Z, if is retail going to, it had a period where it struggled around COVID and everything. And I wonder if it's going to bounce back strong because I've heard that, the Gen Z demo is very much interested in getting back to in person and actually shopping in person and things of that nature. Do you see some of that as well, as you interact and talk to different, potential tenants or potential buyers of commercial projects?
Yeah, so when it comes to retail, the availability for your neighborhood strip center is relatively low. In most areas, you're talking sub 5% for vacancy. In the type of clientele that's going to those centers, it's really more Amazon resistant or Amazon proof industries. So just talked about nail salon and restaurants. Those are, again, the younger generation is always going to seek in person that community. Even talking about coffee shops, for example, I talked to two younger guys just this morning that they're very successful as real estate developers, gym owners, but they have a concept for a coffee shop. And where they want to go is there actually is a void in that area. But even when I've seen different concepts pop up for this specific niche in the restaurant industry, they've actually done fairly well if they were done executed in the right way. So when it comes to the general retail trends, I think if you are in a good location and there is good co-tenancy, so there is different businesses that would support one another and it's a good mix to drive foot traffic, it's still going to make sense to develop retail in the future as well as the need now.
Okay. Could we dig into that just a little bit? I'm curious
Sure.
on when you talk about like the types of businesses that maybe work well together. What does that mean? Or I guess what would that could that look like?
Yeah, so when I talk about co-tenancy, it's what certain businesses are going to mesh well together to drive traffic to that overall center. So if we have, let's say, a Starbucks on one end and a Qdoba on the other end, and then you have your inline property. So when I say inline, it's not on the end of a property. So we have end caps. So let's say in this example, Starbucks, where there's a drive-through, and then Qdoba's, there's a drive-through or Chipotle. But what is going to be in that center that's going to make sense for that developer or landlord to have? And then when I'm representing a tenant, how am I going to make my case that makes them a good tenant to go there? So these are conversations both I have with the tenant as well as what I have with the landlord rep. So a nail salon, for example, if it's more in a higher end, higher household income area, it's going to make sense to be there with maybe there is Pilates or a high end gym or fitness studio and a high end massage or a wellness clinic, Botox, things like that, that those co-tenants are going to go very well together. So that is always going to be a driver when you're building any of these developments, and it's typical to have that conversation with the landlord rep because they also have these criteria and parameters set. Typically they're telling me this, so I want to make my case, and then those co-tenants we kind of know which ones should go together.